come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
ICE protests turned violent in downtown LA. Local officials blame Trump. So let's take a look at some video from the scene here. So here are protesters. There are pretty big crowds of protesters. So there you have a large crowd, 10,000 plus. Now, it's always the case with these events, even these events that cannot be fully and fairly categorized as peaceful per se, because there obviously were acts of vandalism and looting and some acts of violence against law enforcement, which we do not condone, obviously. But it's always the case with any of these big protests. I've been to hundreds of them in my life, even ones that get rowdy. Odds are, if you just pin down on a map a point in the protest, where you are will be fine. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Right. They're always mostly peaceful. They're never mostly violent. It's not a riot everywhere you look. So obviously, you had 10,000 plus here, a permitted protest. They had sound amplification for speakers, and for the most part, it was peaceful, but not entirely, obviously. So let's get to some of the confrontations here. Obviously, you have the police on the march. This is a pretty dystopian scene when you look at the graffiti on the wall in the background. And you have some tear gas.
Were they firing tear gas?
Well, this is tear gas. Those were rubber bullets. And obviously you had scenes like this. So like I said, yeah. Not good, believe me, not good. Protests over President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown and the deployment of the National Guard boiled over on the streets of Los Angeles on Sunday as demonstrators blocked the 101 freeway and surface streets, set cars ablaze, and lobbed projectiles at law enforcement. Police responded with tear gas, rubber bullets, and flashbangs to disperse the escalating crowds. So here is an Australian reporter, Lauren Tomasi, a U.S. correspondent for 9 News Australia, was shot at point-blank range with a rubber bullet by an LAPD officer while covering the ongoing anti-ICE demonstrations in downtown Los Angeles.
The standing off this situation has now rapidly deteriorated. The LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA. You just shut the fuck up.
You okay?
I'm good.
Are you okay? That hurts. Now, that officer was since promoted to the IDF. Israel said, "Who's that guy? We want him." And he's on his way to Israel.
I like the cut of his Jeep.
Yeah.
That one.
Exactly. It was the third day of demonstrations against ICE raids in the region as the arrival of around 300 federal troops spurred anger and fear among some residents. Sunday's protests in LA were centered in several blocks of downtown. Hours after announcing the start of 3 separate, then peaceful protests throughout LA, LAPD's Central Division announced that the city was on tactical alert at 2:30 p.m. as the crowd grew unruly. The use of less lethal munitions has been authorized, said LAPD. Arrests are being made. In an update just before 3:30 p.m., LAPD said officers encountered demonstrators throwing concrete, bottles, and other objects. Some police patrolled the streets on horseback, while others with riot gear lined up behind guard troops deployed to protect federal facilities, including a detention center where some immigrants were taken in recent days. The presence of the Guard was inflaming tensions in the city, according to a letter sent to Trump by Governor Gavin Newsom on Sunday afternoon. He formally requested that Trump remove the Guard members, which he called a serious breach of state sovereignty. Yes, this was the first time that the National Guard had been federalized since 1992, which ironically was during the Rodney King race riots in Los Angeles. Newsom later joined LA City, County, and California state law enforcement leaders at Unified Command, posting, "We're here to keep the peace, not play into Trump's political games," on X. So Waymo vehicles, which are those self-driving taxis, were set on fire in downtown LA as protesters and police clash. So now we're going to see some of this.
Right before Elon's about to launch his robo-taxis, the Waymos get lit on fire. Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Elon's thinking he got out just at the right time. These could have been Teslas. Like, Tesla dealerships are totally fine, totally cool. Imagine Elon were still in the government when these things happened. The shit would have gone down there.
They would have gone straight to the Tesla dealership.
Yeah. So he made out good. So good for him. As police struggled with another day of unrest in downtown LA, several Waymo autonomous taxis were set on fire, sending thick plumes of black smoke billowing high into the air. The dramatic images were captured during an afternoon of clashes between large groups who were protesting immigration raids by the Trump administration and LA police who were trying to maintain order. Scanner Pacific says LAPD requesting Waymo shut down the app. People keep calling them and then lighting them on fire. See, that is a problem you don't anticipate when you're thinking about bringing self-driving cars online. If there's a person in there, they can be targets for vandalism, of course. Andrew, would you mind making that a little larger, please? Thank you very much. A once great American city, Los Angeles, says Donald Trump, has been invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals. Now, violent insurrectionist mobs are swarming and attacking our federal agents to try and stop our deportation operations. But these lawless riots only strengthen our resolve. I am directing Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, in coordination with all other relevant departments and agencies, to take all such action necessary to liberate Los Angeles from the migrant invasion, capital letters, and put an end to these migrant riots. Order will be restored, the illegals will be expelled, and Los Angeles will be set free. And the standard sign-off now. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So Thomas Yeager quotes on X an interview from Tom Homan, and this is where things kind of escalate further. White House border czar Tom Homan said in an interview that California Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass could be arrested and prosecuted if they impede federal immigration actions. It's a felony to impede law enforcement from doing their jobs. Now, that is not a direct order or suggestion to have Governor Newsom arrested, but, the press, they like to try and pour gas on the fire, no pun intended in this instance, and try and, make a little bit more hay out of this than perhaps they should have. And Donald Trump, he didn't take the bait, did he? It's not like him to take the bait and escalate. No, he said, don't be ridiculous, right?
He only holds back when Elon accuses him of being in the Epstein files.
Right.
On that, he's been strangely muted.
Right. So
uncharacteristically reserved, one might say. I wonder why.
So you have Homan give the quote, if they impede federal immigration actions, it's a felony, saying theoretically there are circumstances under which they might be arrested. And the reporter asked Donald Trump what he thinks. And what do you think Donald Trump says? Let's see if he de-escalates or if he intensifies. Let's see where your money's at, people.
If he come and arrest him, should he do it?
I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great. It's a little hard to hear him over the propellers. I hate how they interview the presidents right near the helicopter. Like, can you kill the engine or walk a little far away? It's very unnerving. But here, we'll play it one more time, and then he gets a little closer to the microphone.
Tom Homan, if he come and arrest him, should he do it?
I would do it. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing.
I will give him this. After Biden, it's still jarring having a president who talks to the press like 5 times a day.
Oh yeah, like all day, every day,
all day.
Like he's constantly on. Yeah.
I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent.
I like him. He's a nice guy. It's just he should be arrested and thrown in prison and sodomized. Yeah. Other than that, he's a nice guy. I like him.
I liked his. I liked the Charlie Kirk thing. That was good. That was good. Sloppy Steve. Said that was Sloppy Steve. That was good.
Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly
nice guy. But we should arrest him.
Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under budget.
He's a nice guy. I like him. I just call him new scum and say he should be thrown in prison.
It's like I've always said, the American system of capitalism doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. They got, you ever go to Japan? You ever go to China? They got trains everywhere. Here, you can't even build a little train to San Francisco.
That's right.
We need a revolution in this country.
Under budget. I always do under budget.
What does your intel tell you about these people causing all the problems?
Are
they people ICE is trying to deport, or are they professional agitators?
The people that are causing the problem are professional agitators. They're insurrectionists. They're bad people. They should be in jail. Thank you.
They're being paid by Palantir, clearly.
Yeah, right, exactly. To generate civil unrest, to manufacture consent for the police state that we are trying to build.
They tell me if I try to stop it, it's going to be Butler, only not ketchup this time.
Yeah. So Gavin Newsom says the president of the United States called for the arrest of a sitting governor. This is a sad day I hoped I would never see in America. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. This is a line we cannot cross as a nation. This is an unmistakable step towards authoritarianism. Okay, so Gavin Newsom was then asked about this on MSNBC, where he, of course, then escalated and essentially, told Tom Homan, "Come and get me, tough guy."
The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. I don't give a damn, but I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop, and we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
The perception is there's a lot of...
You can find me at the French Laundry. I'll be there at 6.
I'll be there at 6, yes. Happy hour, glasses of wine, $300 each from 4 to 6.
I've been saving up for it all year.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's amazing how this guy still thinks that he's going to be the president someday. His record was a liability before the wildfires. And then the wildfires, to me, was the nail in the coffin. Now this, there's just no way. Look, I'm against these ICE raids. People can disagree with me on that if they want. But it is obvious that Newsom insisting he had a handle on the situation was bullshit, just like it was bullshit during the fires. Yeah. And that is what gives agencies like ICE, which in my opinion should not exist. By the way, ICE is a creation of the Department of Homeland Security, 2003. ICE is a construction of the post 9/11 security state, which I thought MAGA was all against, right? I thought they were anti-neocon. I thought they were against the Patriot Act. I thought they were against all of that surveillance on people. Apparently, either not many of them are, or they don't realize what ICE is. ICE is not a long-standing American institution. ICE is a creation of the post 9/11 security apparatus. Right. It is quite Orwellian. It is designed to bring militarization to the criminal justice process. The INS, which was the previous agency that handled immigration matters, that was under the umbrella of the Justice Department. ICE was created along with the Department of Homeland Security, a new department, which kind of sounds like it's right out of 1984, does it not? The Department of Homeland Security.
People have gotten used to it now, but
yeah, they've gotten used to it.
That was quite apparent at the time. Right. Like just using the term homeland invokes dystopian science fiction.
Absolutely, yes. So the Department of Homeland Security, absolutely. So yeah, look, so I'm pretty much against all of this. I don't expect everyone to see eye to eye with me on that, but I can also acknowledge reality, which is that the just neglect and incompetence and stupidity of Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have created a situation where I bet if you polled the country, should Donald Trump have sent the National Guard in, I bet a majority of people would say yes. Because when people see chaos, they think, well, something has to be done. And if the state can't do it, maybe the feds should step in. Now, of course, the feds having stepped in only made this worse. Last night's rioting was worse than the night prior with the troops there. So it's not like they calm things down. They're only going to, of course, make things worse. But the fact remains that this guy's goose is cooked as a political candidate. I don't think there's any chance he gains any traction. I don't even think in the Democratic primary. I don't even think he's going to do very well in that race. But he announces, nonetheless, we are suing Donald Trump. This is a manufactured crisis. He is creating fear and terror to take over a state militia and violate the U.S. Constitution. The illegal order he signed could allow him to send the military into any state he wishes. Every governor, red or blue, should reject this outrageous overreach. There's a lot of hyperbole out there. This isn't that. This is an unmistakable step towards authoritarianism that threatens the foundation of the republic. We cannot let it stand. Oh, hey, look at that.
What's up, man?
You're
Hey,
in.
am I in? Okay. Hey, how's it going? Just great job.
Where's your pint?
The kidney's still kicking my ass. You're doing a great job. Keep going with the story. Nice work.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right.
So here's Borders Czar Tom Homan here to sort of clear the air. Now, to be fair, it was really the reporter who I think deliberately misinterpreted what he originally said and thought, hey, you know what? I can get a great publicity quote out of Donald Trump. What if I ask Trump, hey, should he arrest Newsom? And Trump says yes, which he probably will, knowing who he is. But here is Homan clearing the air on MSNBC. I wonder if this is his MSNBC debut. I bet he was pretty excited to come on MSNBC. I hear you guys are the libs. And we're sent here to own the libs. Are you where the libs? Are you the libs? I'm here to own you.
I gotta thank you guys because you created the conditions that put me where I am today.
Right, exactly. Yes. So here's Tom Homan.
Arrest me. Let's go. That was the governor of California talking to you.
Look, I'm not biting on that. The NBC reporter that interviewed me very dishonest. We did a 20-minute interview, and he cuts off.
He's not biting on that. You know who did bite on that? Your boss bit on that. Donald Trump bit on it. It's funny. He's more disciplined than Donald Trump is. He says, no, I'm not engaging that. Trump was pretty happy to engage that.
Let's go. That was the governor of California talking to you.
Look, I'm not biting on that. The NBC reporter that interviewed me very dishonest. We did a 20-minute interview, and he cuts out a little clip that makes me and takes my words out of context. Here's what we said. And he talked about what I talked about these people that are these protests and rioting. When they cross the line, they got that. Well, here's why I said they have a right to protest. They have the First Amendment rights, but they can't cross that line. They can't cross that line of impediment. They can't cross that line of putting their hands on officers. They can't cross the line of knowing and concealing and illegal aliens, because they're all federal crimes. They're in statute, and they will be prosecuted. When he asked the questions that include Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom, I was clear. They haven't crossed the line, but they're not above the law either. If they commit a crime, they certainly would ask for prosecution. That's what was happening. I never threatened to arrest Governor Newsom, so I'm not biting off on that. It's just that reporter's dishonest, and let him play the whole 20-minute interview, and you'll see a whole different discussion that we had.
All right, so he kind of tamps it down. Funny how it falls to a guy like this to, cool the temperature off. Cool the temperature off. But those are the times we live in, where he is the voice of moderation and reason. So I guess he smoothed things over, where no arrest warrant is out for Gavin Newsom at the moment. What's that?
Dr. Phil called him. Talked him
Dr.
down.
Phil gave him a call and said, hey,
That's too much.
this under control.
That's too much. That's too much now.
Well, Jimmy, I was saying this tends to happen when you leave town. First
Yeah,
it was
what's
the
up with
fires,
that,
and now
man?
it's this.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to go down there and get shot with a rubber bullet in my kidney,
Yeah.
but unfortunately I'm in Dublin. I just want to make 2 points. I think you kind of touched on the first one, so people. I don't know if you're going to get more into this, but people are, taking this at face value, which I think is a mistake, right? So I think two things are happening here. One thing is definitely, as we've reported recently, everybody has reported, from you to me to Tim Dillon to Glenn Greenwald to everybody else, that Trump is ratcheting up the surveillance state.
Yeah.
And just like Barack Obama was the perfect guy to get the left to go to sleep, or the Democratic left to go to sleep, when he did Libya, when he did Syria, when he ramped up Afghanistan, and when he ramped up the drone war and killed American citizens without a trial extrajudicially, because he got those people who the natural opponents to that to go to sleep, because he was the person in power doing it, and it worked like a charm. The same thing's happening here. The people who thought they voted for the opposite of what Trump is doing with Palantir and their surveillance state, and his golden dome is just a cover for their surveillance state.
Exactly. Yep.
Is there lots of them, not all of them, but lots of them are being silenced because it's their man doing it, right?
Right.
And I've seen lots of prominent Twitter accounts. I only go on Twitter. I've seen lots of pro-Trump Twitter accounts. Laura Loomer's one for sure. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
we're doing it next.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's happening, and the violence that's happening here, it seems to be.
Well, and Jimmy, a lot of those accounts are paid. They're paid,
Yeah.
man. We saw this a couple of months ago where they all came out for against the Maha effort against sugar
Against
in
the soda, right.
and it turned out they were all getting paid.
Yeah.
So what? You think they don't get paid when they back Palantir like that?
So I'm pretty sure they are. And, Tim Dillon also made a video, which I saw yesterday, saying that if you are not confused by this ramp up of the surveillance state, and you are completely compromised. And he said, I expect a lot more of those people to show up in the coming weeks and months, and they are. The other thing is, I think a lot of the violence that you're seeing there is agent provocateurs. The crazy. So that they're leaving out bricks. Are you going to cover all this? Should I shut up and wait for you to get to it?
We are covering more of that angle next.
Okay, all right.
More into the Palantir side of things.
Okay, so just the same thing that happened during Black Lives Matter was that all of a sudden pallets of bricks show up in the city streets before a riot or before a protest, and so the same thing's happening here. So it makes me feel like this kind of chaos is what the establishment wants.
Yep.
And so it's not, Donald Trump isn't the sole cause of this. The rioters aren't. They all have Mexican flags while they're doing this. It looks like they all bought them at the same store. And so this you're being played. And so we're being played again by this, and it's all being ramped up for a purpose I'm not exactly sure. I know one purpose definitely is so that makes it easier for Trump to ratchet up the surveillance state. I don't know what the other purpose is, but there's got to be one. And so I just wanted to make that point that we're being played again. If we think that this is what it looks like on the surface, you're a sucker.
Yeah, well, you should hang out for because we're going to do more of the Palantir angle in this next piece. But broadly speaking, like what I said yesterday on our show was that you have to remember all this chaos here. They arrested just over 100 undocumented immigrants. That's all. 100 people. Right. So if you would do this to the city of Los Angeles to get 100 guys, you really think it's about getting those 100 guys, or do you think it's about doing this? This is the goal. Of
course.
The 100 guys, Trump says there are 20 million illegal immigrants here who they have to kick out. So you're going to turn a city upside down for 100 guys? That math doesn't check out. At that rate, you'd light the whole country on fire to get 1,000 guys, right? So it's clearly not about those 100 guys. It's not about the deportation. The immigrants are the pretext to build a police state, because you can't build a police state without a scapegoat, because no one wants to live in an authoritarian surveillance state. So you have to say, well, you might not want it, but you're going to have to sign up for it because there are these scary immigrants here who we have to get out. So you're going to have to give us the power to track them and remove them. And there you go. And by the time they turn it on you, it's way too late. This big, beautiful bill has $45 billion in new ICE jails that they're going to try and get through. It doesn't look like it's going to pass, but I'll bet that passes in the final version of whatever comes out of Congress.
Yeah, and it's also narrative management, because if you look at the common theme in what Stephen Miller is putting out and what Donald Trump is putting out, Los Angeles, a once great city. So who destroyed Los Angeles, and by implication, America, not the corporations, not the oligarchs.
Yeah.
Look, what about all these Midwestern cities that didn't have a large influx of immigration beyond the turn of the century? What about, I was just up in Buffalo. Well, you think you see a lot of Haitians and South Americans, Central Americans going up to Buffalo, but you got the same crumbling infrastructure that you have in cities like Los Angeles and New York. So what do you blame it on there? This is all about finding someone to blame so that they don't start actually looking at the ruling class that's been robbing them for decades.
Yeah, when I covered the New Hampshire Republican primary, I would ask these people at these country clubs going to Nikki Haley events, what's your number one issue? They say, well, it's the border. Well, it's immigration.
Right.
I say, this is New Hampshire. I'm the brownest motherfucker here. And you guys are worried about immigration as if it's the number one issue?
Exactly. They got to blame somebody. There's got to be some explanation, right? And the explanation they do not want people to arrive at is the correct one, the obvious one. Themselves. Right. Themselves. This is all about, no, don't go get them. That's the one. That's the one who stole your purse. Meanwhile, they're running away with it.
Hey, have you ever tried getting ivermectin, methylene blue, or mebendazole from your regular doctor? Good luck. Most won't even talk about it. But the truth is, you shouldn't have to beg for these medicines that you want. And you shouldn't have to wait for permission to take care of your own health. I'm telling you, don't wait till you're sick. Be prepared, because when things go south, it's not the hospital that's going to save you. It's what you've already got at home. That's why I'm telling people about All Family Pharmacy. They're redefining what healthcare should be, helping you stay stocked with both essentials and everyday meds, no hassle. You order online. A licensed doctor reviews your order, writes the prescription, and boom, your meds shipped straight to your door, no hassle. They've got ivermectin, methylene blue, mebendazole, plus over 200 medications, including antibiotics, emergency kits, and your daily prescriptions. It's not just a pharmacy. It's the backup plan every family needs. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/door right now. Stock up. Be ready. That's allfamilypharmacy.com/door and use the code DOOR10 and get 10% off your order today. Come see us on tour in Glasgow, Manchester, Belfast, Dublin, Liverpool, Birmingham, and London. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.